Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
All right. Welcome. Great to have you with us. We head to the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow they'll go in the stadium for the first time.
Okay.
And it will be, you're trying to set up, I think I hear Luna Bell in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
The company dog, it's Pat Urban's dog.
Yeah. So Penn State football heading in the stadium.
They want to go into the stadium. They wanted to go last weekend, couldn't. Mm-hmm. You know, they need, when you reinstall the field, need a little extra time. And it was recommended, hey, okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. So they'll go in tomorrow. What you're trying to set up is without the crowd there, more of a game day experience.
Mm-hmm.
So he talked with the team about, okay, you finished Thursday. Okay? How do you then prepare the rest of the day Thursday? How do you then prepare the rest of your day Friday to then be ready for a Saturday?
It essentially is a mock game week,
right?
Or mock game few days,
right? I mean, because they didn't practice Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in a game week they'd be practicing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
But it's essentially a 3-day quote unquote game experience.
But mentally, how do you do this? Mm-hmm. How do you take care of your diet? How do you take care of your sleep pattern and so forth? You're not going to be playing a game at 9:30 in the morning.
No.
Okay? You're not going to be. Or 10 o'clock, whatever time they want to start. All right? But he wants them to get into that thought process of how you go about this. And for the players, individually, they've gone in there. Mm-hmm. Hey, look, great.
Go look around,
right?
See what it looks like.
But they haven't gone out there as a team and actually thrown the ball around, right? As a team. It'll be interesting for me to go in because I've seen what they're doing outside. Mm-hmm. You can see, the footprint hasn't changed. I mean, that footprint goes out pretty far. But now you're starting to see like, ooh, boy, that's pretty high. It's very high. So it'll be interesting for me to just take a look at, like, from the inside, what it looks like.
Yeah.
And that'll be interesting. But getting them out there, and then you take care of your business like it's a normal Saturday practice in the spring, but there'll be some other things that they'll do along the way. Coaching, communication, things like that you have to get used to. Moving forward in college football, the proposal is on the table, and we've talked about this before. We try to do things in such a way here where we try to alert people like a year or two ahead of time about possibilities.
What's coming down the tracks?
Right. Well, we talked about before, hey, everybody's starting week 0 and getting 2 bye weeks. Okay? Well, now it looks like it's going to happen. It's like we did this with NIL. Like we did this with the gambling probe, like years ahead of time, saying here it comes. I don't mean probe, gambling in states across the country. We talked about that extensively for 2 years before it happened.
So this is week 0 schedule. What does it look like?
So the week 0 would mean, let's start with this. That means your training camp starts in late July.
Okay. So let's put this schedule onto this season to give people an idea of what it looks like.
Let's see, September 5th, and would be the weekend before that would be August 29th, maybe?
So hypothetically...
What is Saturday the 29th?
So 29th. Yeah,
it is.
29th.
Okay.
So hypothetically the 29th would be game 1, quote unquote.
No.
Game 0 week.
No.
Week
Game
0.
1 is Thursday, August 27th.
Right. Okay.
Thursday, August 27th, then you'll have games on the 28th, then you'll get into the 29th. Now, how you handle Labor Day weekend, I don't know yet, because you're never going to have Labor Day weekend in August.
No.
But that means that, let's just count back. That means you start your training camp July 29th.
Okay.
Or if you're in the opening games on Thursday night, you start on July 27th. So you're now extending your training camp back to buy another bye week during the season.
Everyone's got to be there a week earlier and got to be there.
Yes.
And prepped and ready to go.
And you also are prepping for a game in August.
Mm-hmm. And
you're prepping for a game in August.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
I know
there is a difference between playing a game in October, where the bye week would be, and playing a game in August.
Yeah,
because of the heat factor. But you're going through acclimation anyway during training camp. You'll be fine. But this buys the players one extra bye week. You're going to play 12 games in a 14-week span and still end the season Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes. It just starts earlier and same time.
It still does not change the calendar in the college football playoff because the national championship game next year is January 26th.
I believe it's the 26th, which is the Tuesday the 26th, I think.
That has to start change. That's the part that needs to be changed.
That is just, it's late.
But let's get to Tony Petitti's proposal.
Okay.
Right? Because as you know, Tony and I talked, because you were there.
You were talking right behind me at the Northwestern game, I believe.
Yes. And we talked for a while. And we talked about, there are various things we talked about. So it's not as if we didn't. People are poo-pooing ideas. Like I've noticed over the last few years, like a lot of experts, to their credit, are wrong. It's been almost like, well, we had a study.
I didn't know Jason Lord was an expert, but it's good to know.
You had a study? Really? we wasted money on that? Let's stop doing studies. 24 teams. Right? We realized that 16 is a really nice number to work with. 24 seems big. I got it. But the last three national champions are Big Ten teams. Right now, there is a level of depth in the Big Ten in both football and in men's basketball.
We saw it this year with, 5 teams in the Elite Eight?
Right. That we haven't seen 6 teams. Or no, 5 in the Elite Eight, 6 in the Sweet 16. You had no chance of getting 6 because Illinois played Iowa.
Yeah.
All right. But when you look at the depth, in the time I've been doing this, it's the deepest I've seen the Big Ten. I mean, Penn State in the 80s would have run, no offense, sorry people, they'd have run roughshod through that league. In the 80s, they'd have run roughshod through them. In the 80s, Woody, Bo, weren't that good. Sorry. I mean, like, good, but not great. In other words, they were really good, but not great, but they were the only 2 teams in the conference, and neither one of them was really great. Now you get to the point where you've got USC. They're going to be pretty good this year.
Oregon's pretty good.
Washington's upped its game. Oregon. Okay, I haven't even gotten to the old guard yet.
No.
All right? So then you add in what Indiana has done. Remarkable. Penn State is going to be on the comeback trail this year. Ohio State, Michigan. Let's just see like the depth of the conference, where now you've got 75% of your schedule where you're knocking each other off.
It is in a similar place to what everyone has said, the quote-unquote, the only conference that matters, where the SEC, they're playing tough opponents every week. The same thing is happening now in the Big Ten.
Except that doesn't happen in the SEC anymore, and here's the reason why. Okay, it'll start to maybe happen going to the 9th game. They've been playing in the shelter of 8 games and have been doing it within divisions, which meant you were playing the same group and 1 crossover game.
Wasn't it? Is it what, A&M and Georgia had never played in A&M? Was that the game that had never happened?
I've talked about that repeatedly. Yeah. Georgia had never, until this past season, played a game at Texas A&M.
In a decade.
Right. Texas A&M had been in the league since 2011.
So 15 years at that point.
You've been in the league since 2011. Georgia's never played at Texas A&M? Like, it's not as if Texas, who just got in, or Oklahoma. This is Texas A&M, which has been in for 15 years. Right? That's how convoluted the schedules have been in the SEC. Does ESPN ever talk about this stuff? No. I've got a contract, don't want to say it. Mm-hmm. Call them out. Okay? Well, now it's hurting them. And a 2014 playoff, this is where it gets me about the SEC. Mm-hmm. It would benefit them.
Because they'd get more guaranteed spots.
Well, not just guaranteed spots, just get spots. Yeah. You get spots in all of this. And that's what you're looking at. It's the depth of where the Big Ten is now. Mm-hmm. It is the depth of where the SEC still is.
Yeah.
You know, the SEC is still a deep conference.
So we take this past 2025 season. Let's take this and let's run it back to this past season.
Because, again, when you're playing 75% of your games in the regular mm-hmm. season against just this group of teams, mm-hmm. where the depth is good. It doesn't take a genius to look at how good even some of the middle teams are mm-hmm. in these conferences, as opposed to the ACC and the Big 12, where they're just holes and gaps.
So 24 teams get in. Yeah. Let's run through every team that would have gotten in this past season.
So let's start with this. James Madison, Tulane both make it.
Yes. So
they both do make it.
Bids.
So now we're down to 22.
22 teams.
Right? Okay. Let's see. Virginia probably makes it.
So Virginia would be in as the last auto bid.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they would not be an auto bid.
They would. They're an ACC. Duke would be in as the auto bid. So Duke gets in, so 21 teams technically. Okay. You have Indiana, Ohio State. I want you to count on each hand Big Ten and SEC. Just give an idea.
Sure.
So Indiana, Ohio State. Then you have Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame, BYU, Texas, Vanderbilt, Utah, USC, Arizona, Michigan, Virginia, Houston would get us to 20, and the 21st team that would get in, by my math, would be Georgia Tech, and Iowa would be just outside of them at 22.
Right.
So you've got 7 SEC and 5 Big Ten with a chance of getting another one in if they had one other game or somewhere. You've got 7 and 6, so half the field is the SEC and Big Ten is what's happening here. Half of it. Just straight up gone to these divisions. And the Big 12, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams in as well. Right. So that's 17 at minimum of the 24.
And who's the weakest group is the ACC.
The ACC gets in just the 2.
And again, Penn State played Clemson in the Pinstripe Bowl. Mm-hmm. I'm watching the video over and over again. I see talent all over the field on that mm-hmm. team. You're going to see in the draft, Clemson's going to come up several times.
Peter Woods is going to get drafted. Avion Terrell is going to go early.
I mean, it's all over the place mm-hmm. there. Yet, I'm watching the tape going, there was something missing with that team. Well, they're supposed to be one of the better teams in the ACC. Penn State won the game with complete ease. Mm-hmm. Penn State won the game with ease. I mean, at what point in that game at Yankee Stadium was Penn State threatened?
Never.
Right. They gave up a touchdown. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, the ACC's got problems with depth. And the Virginia-Duke game, that showcases our depth. I'm happy for Manny, but that was like one of those you got to be kidding me games. Mm-hmm. And nobody watched it.
No.
See, that's the other part. Part of what you're trying to do here is that, and Tony's got a TV background. He went out to, he told me he went to the Oregon James Madison game. Mm-hmm. He says, Steve, at halftime, it's over. He says, the Oregon guys, the second half, they're like, who cares how many points James mm-hmm. Madison scored in the second half? But here's the point. And I said, and this is what I said to him. I said, Tony, it had 4.5 million viewers. It's the weakest college football playoff. That mm-hmm. actually ranks with the Fiesta Bowl in the old 4-team playoff system. So this would be just part of the New Year's Six. Mm-hmm. when Oregon played Liberty. Again, Cinderella is adorable.
Mm-hmm.
But to the sports fan, you got to have a brand behind you. Liberty, what a great year. No, okay? 4 million people watched that Fiesta Bowl between Oregon and Liberty because people are like, I don't want to watch that. It's going to be a blowout. It's the same thing with Ole Miss Tulane, and it's the same thing that you saw with Oregon and James Madison. People expected it to be a blowout. The Oregon-James Madison game was in prime time, and people did not want to watch it. Now, when you get to, right, you get out of there, I mean, Alabama, Indiana may have been a blowout, but it was Alabama against Indiana.
At the brand.
Right? At the Rose Bowl. So, boom, boom, boom. Remember I talked about Penn State, Texas in the NCAA basketball tournament 3 years ago? Penn State, Texas. Doesn't matter if they have great traditions in basketball. Penn State, Texas, NCAA tournament March Madness. 6.6 million viewers. Okay? That's 2.5 million more viewers than Oregon and James Madison had for a college football playoff game. Brands. Tony's idea is about brands and eliminating championship weekend. So we're going back now to, okay? Now I'm going back to the 14 weeks, 12 games. And under his proposal, the next week you are starting the playoffs.
So I believe that'd be if it's Thanksgiving is the finale week. So that'd be this season.
December
that would be
4, 5.
December 4th, 5th would be week 1 of the playoffs, and then would it be every week?
Yes.
Generally?
Right. 4, 5. Then you get to 11, 12. At that point now you're down to, I think, 8.
You'd be down to
8.
Yeah. You're down to 8.
Right.
So then at that point you play maybe you take a week at that point and say the last
again
8
you've got to
teams.
figure out what do you want to do with New Year's Day.
So
what do you want? That's the key. What do you want to do with that? Because it can't keep having it extended January 26th.
So
that makes no sense.
Let's say, as a hypothetical, this happens. So you have those games the 4th, 5th, and the games 11th, 12th.
Right.
Then let's say you play before Christmas. To get the game out before Christmas is a Friday. Let's say you play the midweek games, as we've seen them do a lot. So you play December 23rd. You give a week and a half for that next game, that 8-team setup. Then you get to January 1st, 2nd, you're down to 4. January 1st, 2nd is that New Year's Day and the day afterwards. That is your huge monster. We're going for the last 2 teams, the last 4 teams playing.
The problem is the NFL. Okay, let's address the behemoth in the room. They won't change their schedule for anybody. They don't care. Right? They're about to have the NFL draft next weekend in Pittsburgh. It's excitement. Your team is going to draft. But what makes Fernando Mendoza a fun draft pick and intriguing? Because he played college football.
He's a brand
name. Who he is. You know who Arvell Reese is. Right? You know who all these guys are. Because of the power of college football, they've established brands that enhances the NFL brand. Yet America's greatest bubble group, the NFL, doesn't recognize it.
No. So let's say
their scheduling forces this. When do you play your semifinals?
So let's say we play the semifinals on New Year's Day. So you play it on the 1st. You give a team a week and a half from their last game and the 8 to get down to the 4. They play it on New Year's Day, which would be January 1st. You play those games then. So let's say this happens. That's the schedule. Then the NFL, does the wild card round have games on Monday or no?
Yes.
It does?
See, again, I keep going back to the behemoth in the room.
Yeah.
Right?
Because the NFL ends their season on January 3rd.
In other words, their concession. This is the NFL's concession. Let's go back Penn State 2 years ago. Penn State and Texas are both playing on that Saturday. So the concession they made was, we will put the Steelers-Ravens game later in the day so it's not opposite Penn State. And we'll take the who played in the other game, the Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs game, and make sure it's not opposite Texas. That's your concession?
Yeah. Well, Steve Jones, after looking through, the NFL season will end this year on January 10th is the last game, which is everyone plays on the Sunday, which would mean if college football, let's say this season had lined up to where that Final Four game is on the New Year's Day, then they take the 11th as their championship game, so a full week and a bit later. They can't. They need an extra week.
Yeah, because the 11th being a Monday, guess what you have? Monday Night Football.
Well, no. The last week, everyone plays on that Sunday.
Everybody's going to play Sunday?
Everyone playing Sunday
Really?
to wrap up the 10th. As of this moment, it's everyone
fine,
plays
then you play
the 10th.
Saturday.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying you play Monday. You play Monday, everyone plays on Sunday for NFL. They wrap up the season.
Yeah, but college football, you can play the championship game on Saturday night.
Yeah, you can play Saturday night on the 9th. You can play Monday on the 11th. You got an option there. But that only gives, again, the teams a week to prepare versus now, I think, what, they get 2 weeks?
Oh, at this point.
I know. It's dumb.
I mean, look, at this point, how much do you need to do?
Yeah. So a lot of it's media, press, whatever.
At this point, you've got 5,000 scout tapes in the whole thing. I mean, okay, what's the difference between that and a regular season game?
So let's say they play the 9th. That would wrap up the season. You'd be done. NFL gets their playoffs. You don't touch the NFL. They don't touch you. You stay out of each other's way.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it's got
done.
to end sooner.
Yes.
Right? And that means you've got to get rid of the conference championship games, which have been great for the sport, but they've also outlived their usefulness.
So January 11th is your season's done by then. Whether it's 9th or 11th, it's done.
You have to be done sooner.
That means
there's no getting around it.
2 weeks earlier. You're done before the playoffs begin in the NFL. You don't have to deal with them. And that also means it's just done. Like, it's done earlier. And that way, most teams know when that portal opens on the 1st, everyone but the two champions knows who's there on their team. That gets rid of half that issue.
Yeah, it does. And then, I mean,
because that was the issue, is teams were like every 2 weeks there was another team being added in the portal. Now they're basically all done. Now you start the portal on the 2nd. You say January 2nd was the portal on the Saturday when only 2 teams have players remaining.
Right.
That's it. You're done.
And
easy.
Right.
Because last year it was like half the field.
I know. I read the article this morning on CBS Sports about Dusty May and how he hasn't really had a chance. And I know, there's going to be the usual woe is me crowd. Oh, cry me a river, you won the championship. Okay. Right. Okay. But, it would help at some point in life to walk a couple of miles in somebody else's shoes.
The Bob Nutting approach, as you try to call it, that he needs to do.
Right. In other words, when I talk about other people, I'm not that negative about a lot of stuff in terms of like what people do, because you sort of walk a mile in their shoes. You got to put yourself in their shoes. The game is over. This is one of the great moments of his life and his career. They cut down the nets and the whole thing. Okay, guess what you got to do at 2:00 in the morning? Zoom calls. The portal is open.
I believe there was a photo posted that the Michigan, a bunch of their assistant coaches and the like that on their crew were looking in the portal at when that buzzer had sounded, basically at midnight, sitting on laptops looking, because they needed to, because they needed to see who they were going to bring on in, because some players were gone. Some were, of course, out of eligibility.
Well, I mean, for example,
Lindenberg, gone.
Right.
Mara, gone.
Right.
Like, who you bringing in?
Well, Johnson and Mara right now are doing NBA pre-draft camps.
But they're gone. Lindenberg's gone.
Lindenberg is, I don't even think he has to do an NBA pre-draft camp. He's just going to go straight to Chicago. But this is what he has to deal with right away. Right? It was, woe is me, you won the championship. But this is also your job. Right? And there's no lag time to at least give somebody 48 hours to enjoy what they've gone through. Right? And he said the single most enjoyable part for him, according to the article, was when they did the parade.
Because you could relax.
Right. He did the parade. He and his wife were on a fire truck together. They're throwing out mini basketballs, T-shirts, things like that. All sorts of swag that, people go, hey, Dusty May, I caught Dusty May's basketball. Great.
Yeah.
But the whole point was, you win it, and this should be the pinnacle of it. And wow, incredible. and you have so little time to enjoy that fact. The fans enjoy it exponentially longer than the people who work in it.
Because they're not enjoying, because they can't, because they're forced to do the next step. If you're Johnson and Mara, you're immediately going to draft prep. If you're like Cadeau or a McKinney, you're like, am I coming back? Am I going? If you're Dusty May, it's who am I getting back? Who am I bringing in? The assistant coaches, which ones are going to different jobs? Who's going here?
He's got to change his roster over, and he has to start changing his roster over right away. You've got to you don't just dip your toe into the portal.
You jump in face first.
You have to jump in face first and get going with it. And that means including you. You can't just ride your national championship laurels. You've got to keep working. And I know there'll be the woe is me part, but read it, think about it, right? Hey, you got to think about this stuff. Right? Mark Pope is sitting there at Kentucky. Who wouldn't want to play basketball at Kentucky? And right now, he is on a hot seat down there because they went through the portal and everything else, and they were able to keep Oweh and so forth, and they got knocked out in the second round. And probably, if officiating had been better in the first round, they'd have been knocked out in the opening round. Because Santa Clara, Herb Sendek called a timeout right away. Yeah, and the official just started running down the court like that. And I can guarantee you that guy didn't advance.
And do you know what's crazy to me to look at is the portal for Kentucky, because this is my point here is
no, that's a good question because look, I don't know if you can go to high schools anymore.
No. So the piece here is you've got these coaches like Dusty May who right after the portal opens, he's got to get in, try and find his team. But at the same time, you have teams who have been eliminated for a little bit. They do have time to start scouting and looking forward and knowing who's going to be on their roster next year. So in the case of Kentucky, for this past season, you've got for them Brandon Garrison, the center. He leaves for Alabama. Denzel Aberdeen goes back to Florida. Andrea Yelovich goes to Ohio State. Colin Chandler transfers to BYU. Okay, Jalen Lowe, who's been out for most of the season with injuries, he goes to Georgetown. Okay, well, who are they going to bring in? They brought in one player as of today, in Zoom Diallo from Washington. And that's it. The only guy they've brought in. Always going to the NBA. Yeah. All these guys are going to other schools, and they brought in one guy. And then you look at...
And Diallo, to be honest with you, is more about Diallo's game. Diallo's a much better player than he was a year ago. Yeah. But he's very much focused. Dick and I sat there, and we're doing the game courtside. We're like, what's he doing out there?
I believe Kentucky also has Moreno. Their center is going through the draft process, and if he doesn't, he will return to Kentucky or transfer portal, one of the two. Then you look at the other side of it, which is the Michigan piece. So Michigan has brought back Cadeau, brought back McKinney, and has now brought in as JP Estrella. They've also brought in a guy, but they've also kept some of their players.
Well,
they've
retained. Estrella shocked them. They thought it was going to take a bigger number to get him, and they said it was unbelievably easy to get him. On a relative scale. They know they've got Cadeau coming back. They know they have McKinney coming back. The other guys aren't coming back. Will Cheddar is already playing in Australia, He's already playing in Australia. This is how quickly this sport moves. Football's the same way. You sit there and you're Kurt Signetti. You win the national title. This is the greatest moment of your career, your life, for your school, and everything like that. And guess what he's got to do when he gets back to the hotel?
Try and figure out who he's bringing in as quarterback, because his quarterback's going to the draft. Right. The backup quarterback, his Fernando's brother, transferred. And then he has to go out there and figure out who his quarterback is. He gets in Josh Hoover from TCU, a great signing, but it was like, all immediately have to get these guys in.
Right. There's never any area to breathe. So now we go back to the original about football, 12 games, 14 weeks. So normally the one chance the coaches have to breathe is in July. Well, you're going to have to start training camp at the end of July. So it's going to cut off a week of your ability to breathe as a coach. It is such, I know they all make lots of money.
Yes.
Right? So I understand that. But for that money, there is a constant go pressure. Right? And you're surrounded on social media by thousands of experts.
It is. You are.
I'm not.
And they're all named Jason Lord.
Right, me? I'm not. I know. You know. When it comes to social media, I'm like, I get told.
I know.
And I'm like, okay, and that makes no sense to me.
But it's almost a major case of whiplash.
Yeah.
That you go from the high of winning it all in the Dusty May, Kurt Signetti case, or the Corey Close, like you win it all, and then 2 hours later, the whiplash of, oh, now I've got to go build a new roster, go win it again, or if I don't, my job is in jeopardy for a coming season. Like, it's just an extreme whiplash.
Dusty May's wife asked him to do something, whatever. Like, can we go? I mean, like it was like just for a few hours, and he said, I really can't.
Yeah.
Like, now, maybe that's a type A personality. I don't know. Look, I've only been around actually Dusty May once. Mm-hmm. It was Penn State practiced over in their gym. Were you on that trip?
Michigan, no.
Okay, and this is a year ago. This is not this year. Okay,
this is past season.
Yeah, it was. So it was a year ago. It was his first season at Michigan, and he's a great guy to talk to. I mean, no question. I mean, for him, look, his. Where he's from, right, was a rural mailbox. I'm not kidding you. His address growing up was a rural mailbox. So going to Indiana, oh my God, becoming a manager for Bob Knight, oh my God. Right. Then maybe getting a chance to coach. I mean, he's a great story.
Yeah.
Right? He's a great story. But if the guy at the top of the mountain is feeling this, how about everybody else trying to ascend the mountain?
How do you think every other coach who's still there, like, how are they all feeling right now? They're all trying to... But all the people ascending the mountain. Yeah. If you're Brad Underwood, you've gone to the Final Four. Okay, now I got to figure out... And they made a very competitive... For Wagler, they made a very... They handled Wagler right. They made a big offer to him on NIL while encouraging him to go to the NBA. Yeah.
That's the right way to handle it. In other words,
here's our offer to you, but we understand if you want to go to the draft, you're going to be a lottery pick. Like,
right. Cool. They were like, go. Like, but they were able to keep Avicic. Thomas.
But they have Avicic. They have both of them, I think. They have both Avicic brothers.
Yeah.
They kept Davis. And they also kept Mirkovic.
Yeah.
Mirkovic also stayed. And then they brought in Stefan Vox as the replacement for Wagler of here's our guy who's going to come in, take that two-guard position.
And Mirkovic has a chance to be on the top 3 teams next year if he continues to improve. He has a chance that will get consideration for somebody on one all Big Ten team somewhere.
And then they also have brought in a bunch of recruits and commits. They were getting recruits assigned while they were going to the Final Four.
Again, this is what you're doing.
Yeah,
this is how the coaching profession is right now. Football's the same way. You're trying to recruit left and right. And look, yesterday was. It was a Thursday afternoon. There's school going on. So there were fewer people yesterday at practice than any point I've seen during the course of spring practice. Hey, tomorrow, it's probably going to look like a Cecil B. DeMille film as they march out of Egypt. It's like it's going to be, there are going to be a lot of people there. Because you have to keep recruiting. You're not just recruiting 27, you're recruiting 28. Oh, by the way, you're recruiting 29.
Yeah, you're starting to look at 29, you're recruiting 28, you're trying to still get 27 next year.
And you've got to keep looking around as to what you want to do. I mean, is this, and the portal thing hangs over everything.
Because it's like, who's going to stay? Who's going to go? We also have seen there's tampering that still goes on, very much so.
Really?
I mean, we literally saw it handed down this past week with Cade McNamara in Michigan and Iowa, where McNamara was tampered with while he was still at Michigan. He transfers to Iowa. They vacate 4 wins. As someone put out as well, they had to vacate their points they put up against Penn State. So their scoreline went from 31-zip to 31-zip. But it's a part of it where
But look,
tampering happens.
Yeah, but
and it's a major thing. I mean, people have discussed it where coaches will during
But this
games.
is where the NCAA makes no sense.
No.
Okay? They docked them 4 games, 4 wins. Well, everybody knows who won the doggone games, okay? But you're docked for tampering on McNamara. I can buy into it.
Sure.
I can buy into that. But a team that openly, blatantly cheats and breaks the rules on signage gets nothing? And to vacate what? No. Okay? Again, you have to use football common sense logic as to what Michigan did. What is your MO? I play defense. I run the ball, which means the key for me is I need to play with the lead.
How do you get the lead, Steve Jones?
In the first quarter, you need to get out and take the lead. Well, you could talk about sign stealing all you want. By the second quarter, most teams have down what the other team's doing. Because you're allowed to do.
Yeah.
But if you have all the stuff on the first play of the game, boy, it sure does play well into a team that wants to play defense, run the football, and play with the lead. But they're docked no wins.
No.
Meanwhile, Iowa gets docked 4 wins. This was the equivalent to me of we are so mad at Kentucky basketball, we put Wichita State on probation.
No, we did. Speaking of basketball, Steve.
But that's what it is.
I know. Speaking of basketball, there's a team I would like to bring up. We've brought them up before, but they're still the major piece here in the college basketball side of things in terms of the transfer portal. It's been discussed of the amount of money being spent, that it's slowly getting up there. There is a belief that at some point from a lot of people that there is a chance in football we can get to $100 million being spent on NIL. That there's a real shot that gets there from a team. And in college basketball, as we've said, the number is about 10 million is kind of the number, and for most schools is kind of like the Big Ten.
Big Ten average is about. Somebody asked me on a call-in show what I thought the number you needed to be competitive today to get to the playoff. And I said, look, the average in the Big Ten is about 9. I said, if you get to 9, currently, every year it's going to creep up. Okay? 9 in basketball, maybe 10, about 30 million in football. 25 to 30 million in football. You have to be able to. You also have to be able to spend it right too.
And what is the general?
Remember, the New York Mets, right, as a professional sports example, have spent their brains out in the last 2 years and have so far nothing to show for it.
No.
So you can spend it, but if you spend it wrong, it doesn't matter. It's the key is, do you spend it right? So you talk about Michigan basketball for a second. Mara transfers in. We've got our center. Johnson transfers in. We've got our power forward. Lindenborg transfers in. Now I have my X factor. I need a distributor. They get Cadeau to transfer in, right? A pass first who ended up being a much better shooter than I think anybody realized. But they built a team with what they did and got the parts all to fit together. Other teams across the country spent probably more than Michigan, but don't have like BYU. And by the way, can I make one point on BYU?
Go for it.
Did I say 9.8 times out of 10 a guy goes in the portal, leaves, but there's always that chance a guy comes back.
Rob Wright.
Right? Rob Wright. Thank you very much. Right? Rob Wright put his name in the portal and eventually 10 days later went back to BYU. It does happen. It is very rare,
but it
does happen. So don't sit there and dog me about that never happens. Actually, it does happen.
We'll discuss the Penn State piece of this in a minute, but what I want to discuss is another team in the Big Ten. So we discussed them yesterday, Indiana. They spent a lot of money in the portal in the last season. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
They brought in guys like Sam Alexis, Reed Bailey, Connerway, DeVree, Nick Dorn, Wilkerson, Trent Sisley, the freshman. Like a lot of money was spent by them. They're doing it again this year, and it is now a major piece of how much money is being spent in college basketball. Again, we don't know the answer to that, We just have an idea. So they've brought in now 6 players from the portal, Steve, and we can guess what some of these players are going to command based on the talent, the level, the this, the that. They've now brought in 6 players in the portal. Darren Harris, the wing from Duke. Bryce Lindsey, point guard from Villanova. Jaden Mustaf, shooting guard from Georgia Tech. Semet Yigitoglu, the center from SMU. Marcus Burton, the point guard from Notre Dame. And Aiden Sherrill, the power forward center from Alabama. 6 players, can ballpark, they cost a lot of money. And they're just doing it year in, year out. And at the same time, as we've said, Kentucky's there, having brought in 1 player. But the money being spent, Louisville, we've talked about them. A boatload of money is being spent here.
Yeah.
Where is the breaking point? Like, where are we going to get to where it is just...
I don't know.
I know that there's a salary cap when it comes to, and we've discussed the idea and discussed the bargaining and all this that has to happen in college athletics. But at what point does a team just be like, we physically can't spend at the highest level? We can't spend that money because
BYU spent in the mid-30s last year.
BYU's spending this. Kentucky spent 20.
And
Indiana spent
did not win an NCAA tournament game. And by the way, AJ DeBanso in the NCAA tournament game, like he was during the regular season, was great. Okay, he didn't let them down, right? But again, a guy that they kept, Richie Saunders, turned out to be the pivotal piece in the success of their season.
He gets hurt.
He got hurt, and that was it. I mean, that's how fragile this. I need to apologize to a segment of the audience out there.
Go for it.
Injuries are just an excuse.
I love when you apologize to people. This is fun.
That segment out there, right, is really a painful group to talk to. It's like, it's just an excuse.
But my point of, there is a lot of money being spent by an Indiana. And what happens next year if they don't win?
Know.
Like, it's getting to a point monetarily to where it is a one and done for everybody, but because they're transferring all the time, you have 2,000 players that enter the portal. Over half of the possible players that could enter were in the portal this season.
I've said this about Indiana basketball for years. Since Bob Knight left, they have been a very good program. They have not been a great program. No.
They've had a few good years.
I realize the brand name of Indiana basketball is there. I mean, there is no doubt at all who the single best coach is that they had since Bob Knight left. I mean, it's not even close. It's Kelvin Sampson. And he ran into problems there. Right? And the problems he ran into there, which rules, things like that, are all things that are allowed today. Right?
And now he's got a heck of a program down at Houston.
Right, but he's the only one. Tom Crean threw a lot of sweat equity into it. But, okay, Mike Woodson, no offense, the second they hired him, I looked around, I said to Dick Girardi, I said, the rest of the league just...
And they brought in talent. Khalil Ware was talented. He's crushing it in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Mbako looked great. Like, they had talent.
Well, but see, Mike's whole thing, and this goes back to his NBA days, when you see former NBA players, when they see Mike, they love him. You want to know why? Because he just let him have the ball and play.
Players coach.
All right. But I'm talking about, like, you're the star. You can take 30 shots if you want. See, that's the way he was in the NBA. Well, he wasn't exactly what you'd call an ultra-successful NBA coach between the Hawks and the Knicks. Right? Okay.
You'd be correct.
How many Eastern Conference Finals were we in? Like, I didn't say the NBA Finals. I said the Eastern Conference Finals. How many series did you win? Right? Well, the Mullins thing was part of the breaking point. UConn was all over that kid. Indiana was around sometimes.
He's Mr. Indiana.
Once in a while. And UConn was there every game. And I'm not talking out of turn, right, in 2020 hindsight. This is going out to Indiana and talking to people there while the recruitment was going on, and people were telling me how disgusted they were.
Mr. Indiana.
Okay, this is at the time. This is in real time. They're like, we're not going to get that kid. UConn's going to get that kid.
And Dan Hurley said it out when they made the finals, that he was like, we went to him and said, we want to bring you in so we can then go back to Indianapolis and win it all. They darn near almost did it.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point of it.
Yes.
And we don't know if Mullins is staying or going yet. I don't believe that's been announced as of this moment, because he's a possible lottery pick, but they may try and bring him back and offer him a lot of money.
Sure.
We don't know the number.
I mean, he's in a Wagler situation, except he's further back in the draft in the first round than Wagler. But, again, when you look at everything that they've done, we went out there last year, and look, Penn State didn't play well. Okay, so let's just establish. Penn State did not play well at all that night in Bloomington. And Dick and I walked out of there. You were in the car with us. What were we saying? We didn't think Indiana was that good.
You were like,
this is after the game.
Yeah. The only one, Wilkerson got hot, blew the doors off of them. Penn State didn't play a good game, and you were like, meh.
I mean, the two of us were like, we didn't see it. How could you not see it? You just watch them score. No, I don't care how many points they scored. I'm watching how they played, and I'm like, I don't see how they're going to.
No.
And they ended up about where I thought they would. I did not think they would make the tournament.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't fit. They spent their money in all the wrong spots, and you could see the elements of that team did not fit. That's what's so difficult about this portal part. You've got to be able to get parts to fit in there.
And that's what
Michigan did.
Yeah. That's what I'd now like to bring up. Penn State, in terms of the portal, we got off air on Wednesday, and then about half an hour later, another player was announced as committing to Penn State. We'll get to him in a second. Penn State in the portal, players leaving. Caden Mingo is committed to Baylor per his agency, and Freddie DeLeon is committed to Georgia.
Yep.
So the two are now officially gone. Then you've got coming on in, we've already discussed Jay Rogers from Central Connecticut, the point guard, and Brant Byers, the three-point shooter from wing from Miami of Ohio. Penn State has also now reportedly brought in Roberts Blooms, the shooting guard from Davidson. He also, spoiler alert, 40-plus point three-point shooter. As we said multiple times, and I'll say again here on the show, what was Penn State going to bring on in? Age and three-point shooting.
Yep. What
has Penn State brought in? Age, experience, and three-point shooting.
Yes, exactly. Look, okay. They've said this. They want to get older, and they need shooters. Well, okay, if you're older and shooters, and you got to get it to the next part from Mike and Brent Scott and Taylor Battle and Clay Connors, and obviously starting in the middle of June to get this all to mesh together, because they're not done. I told you. I also told you the other day, that there was going to be more, and it was going to happen fast. Well, right after the show, they got another guy.
It was immediately afterwards. I was like, Steve knew, and he didn't say a word.
Right. But I'd say there's going to be one more. For sure. And the door might be open for two, but it's got to be the right person. Okay? One for sure. Maybe one more. Okay? And so one or two. Same story. You had to get a point guard, you knew it. They did that. All right? They need shooters, wings.
They got them.
And guess what you do when you have good outside shooting? It makes your center more effective. He now has more space. Your center is already a good passer out of the post. He may not be like Uday Mara, who's an elite passer out of the post.
It also means...
But Jurich is a good passer out of the post.
It also means if you're someone like... I have not watched a lot of Rodgers' game, but let's say he is really good at driving the ball.
No, he drives.
What does it mean?
He drives the ball. He has a good step back.
But it means there's more space for him to drive, because defenders are pulled out of position. They're, instead of putting everyone in the middle, there's way more room to operate.
He's also very good at being a pass first guy when he needs to be, which helps. If you get guys that can shoot, his job is to find those people.
What is the easiest move? Is a drive and kick. And what does a kick do? All of a sudden, it pulls a defense out of rotation, and you kick it a couple more times, and someone's wide open for a shot. It happens all the time.
But again, it's going to make your center more effective. He's going to get more one-on-one coverage because can I commit a second guy?
When I've got two 40% shooters sitting there in either wing waiting for it.
Right. Can I commit a second guy when these guys are on the floor? It spreads the floor out. All right. Now, does this mean that you're okay? Guess what? Okay, now you go about your business and get the last guy or two, which I think is going to happen much sooner than later. I'll leave it at that. And then you go from there. Hey, you have your team. You needed shooters. You needed some size. You needed a point guard. They've done that. Now, do they have more money to work with this year? Yes. Are they up to the average of the conference? No. But at least they have more money to work with this year, which has made a difference. That's one of the reasons why you could not commit the money to a single player, because that money that you would have committed to a single player could have been the equivalent of 3 starters. And when you're operating with a little bit different budget, again, I go back to the quarterback analogy I made when all this came down with Caden Mingo. Why, on a pro level, did Brett Veach and Patrick Mahomes agree to a restructured contract? Because it gave Kansas City more money to get players. Because Patrick Mahomes, because of the way the original contract was, it's actually the second, the first restructuring, right? Gave them initial relief, but of course was backloaded. Well, the backloading now means so much money's going to a player.
It means you can't pay
everyone else. And it was the same story
much.
with Josh Allen in Buffalo, right? They redid Josh Allen's contract. Why? So they could then have the ability to get more players around him instead of having, in the NFL, if you're going 15% of your money going to your quarterback, and this has been a problem with the wide receiver part lately too, because the combo is putting a big percentage into 2 players out of 53. You have to fill the rest of the roster, and you can't do it at the bargain basement level. When you have a player in college basketball that could potentially command 30%, maybe a third of what you have to offer, what do you have left for the other 11 or 12 spots? When you're limited as to what what your numbers can be based on what you have more money available, but you can't put it into a guy, because putting into a guy then strips away what you can get in other positions. Right? And again, you thought you had, like, if the original numbers agreed to, you're fine. When higher demands came in, it then changed the dynamic. Like, wait a minute, like that percentage is so high now. Can we get other players? We'll get other players, but like, instead of the players we really think can win for us,
can we just get somebody in the door?
Right. I mean, and that's why I talk about, and I realize you're in a cap situation in the NFL. Well, you're also in a sort of cap situation individually based on your numbers.
You only get so much.
Right. I mean, so the numbers at Illinois are off the charts, but there's also like it may be 15 to 18 million, but there's still a spending limit there. And you asked earlier, how high can it go? Remember, every time you do these things, you're not making Kyle F. a one-time donation.
No.
They're going to need you to make the donation again next year.
And the year afterwards.
And they're going to need you to make the donation, and probably at a higher level, the year after that. See, that's one of the issues with the NIL part, is that it's not a one-time donation. Hey, I'm going to endow the program.
It is a yearly renewal.
Yes, and it's a renewal that they would like to see more out of you in the next year. And this goes, okay, there's money all over the place right now.
Yeah.
Right, and I realize you've come from a family of oil executives, so you have you have the last few weeks have had unlimited funds.
It sounds like, you know what? NIL sounds like Netflix. It's just next year, more expensive.
Right. More expensive, and not only that, I forgot to knock it off my cable. I don't need it right now.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a 7 Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for analysis of the latest happening in the sports landscape. From college football